Junior brother Jack, just like in a previous life, knelt down before Lily as soon as the sect leader announced that she would be my mentor, beating me to it.
They showed a slight change in their expressions. While Lily was stunned for a few seconds, a hint of delight flashing in her eyes.
Junior brother Jack, you knelt to the wrong person. Mentor Lily is Ethan's mentor. Your mentor hasn't been announced yet.
Why should Ethan, who didn't even participate in the ascension ceremony, get to have the top mentor in the cultivation world? I don't accept this.
In response to his challenge, the senior brother quickly explained. The reason I didn't participate in the ascension ceremony was that my father was the leader of the Shushua immortal sect, and on the day I was born, he successfully ascended. My father became an immortal, making me a second-generation immortal.
When Ethan was 16, the Shushua immortal sect was annihilated by the demonic sect. Ethan's father's senior disciple, on the brink of death, entrusted him to the master of the Free Spirit Sect. Because Ethan's father had once saved the Free Spirit Sect in a time of crisis, the master remembered this favor and granted Ethan the special privilege of becoming Lily's disciple without having to participate in the ascension ceremony.
I still don't accept it. The world praises the Free Spirit Sect as the #1 sect, known for its fairness and justice, yet it engages in such underhanded practices.
Jack was the only one who passed the ascension ceremony test and was favored by the master. The master had long decided that I would become Lily's disciple, and he would take Jack as his own disciple. Who would have thought this would happen today?
In the Free Spirit Sect, it is always the mentor who chooses the disciple. Even if you don't accept it, you have no other choice.
I came here to compete for the title of the best in the world. Besides, how does the master know that Elder Lily is unwilling to take me as her disciple?
Upon hearing this, everyone turned their gaze to Lily. Facing Jack's fervent gaze, Lily actually spoke up.
I am willing to take Jack as my disciple.
This was not what had been agreed upon earlier. Although the master was angry, he gave a way out.
Then it will be hard on you, junior sister, to take 2 disciples this year.
I have limited energy and can only take one.
So she didn't want me. The master's face darkened, and he was about to lose his temper.
Master, I don't accept this either. Ethan doesn't want to be Lily's disciple.
Oliver's face darkened upon hearing this. She probably didn't expect that there would be someone in the world who didn't want to be her disciple.
Then who do you want as your mentor?
I want her.
Upon hearing this, the woman in white sitting in the high hall, playing with a cup, paused. Even though she had lived for 1,000 years, her beauty was still breathtaking.
Nonsense. How can you?
All right. I will take you as my disciple.
After Jack and Ethan completed the apprenticeship ceremony, the master quickly sent them away. Senior brother chased after them, frustration written all over his face.
Ethan, you fool. How could you choose Isabella as your mentor? Your excellent potential is wasted.
Ethan couldn't blame him. Due to his father's influence, he was born with an immortal bone and exceptional talent. Being guided by any mentor would give him a chance to break through the void core stage.
No one has higher cultivation than Lily in the Free Spirit Sect, and no one lower than Isabella.
Isabella was called the ancestor because she was the mentor of the master's mentor's mentor. Though her age was well known, she had no spiritual power and was considered a mascot in the Free Spirit Sect.
Ethan, I don't know if you are self-destructive or just too arrogant.
None of your business.
Jack's face changed, ready to get angry, but Lily called him, and he immediately followed her obediently.
To defy the master, there's only been one in 1,000 years. What does Jack have that makes Lily value him so much?
In the current cultivation world, the Free Spirit Sect was the top sect because of Lily, the ultimate weapon. But Lily had a peculiar personality, focused solely on cultivation, becoming even more aloof after breaking through to the Great Ascension stage.
In Ethan's previous life, a similar scene occurred. The first time he met Lily, he fell for her. In this world, it was not uncommon for mentors and disciples to form romantic bonds. So, from the beginning, he wanted to be her disciple. When Jack disagreed, Ethan simply beat him into submission and became Lily's disciple. He didn't expect that Lily didn't want to take him as a disciple. Compared to Ethan, a second-generation immortal, Lily appreciated someone like Jack, who climbed up from the bottom. As Lily's disciple, Ethan naturally didn't dare contradict her. He loved and respected her, but she always treated him coldly. As a mentor, she should have given her disciple a spiritual weapon. For a personal disciple, the spiritual weapon would be a rare treasure. Spiritual weapons were useless to someone of Lily's cultivation level, so Ethan thought she would give him her life-bound spiritual weapon. Instead, she had senior brother take him to the warehouse to pick a random spiritual weapon. Then, though she didn't care much for him as a disciple, then still broke through the void core stage within a year. That day, he was so happy that he forgot to fly and ran to tell Lily the good news. But in Lily's courtyard, where he was not allowed to enter, he saw Jack reciting incantations and flying with a sword, with Lily gently guiding him. In her eyes was a tenderness Ethan had never seen in his life.
Lily, if you teach me like this, won't Ethan be unhappy?
Hearing his name, Lily's smile faded.
He can't compare to you.
Those words hurt more than the most powerful spiritual weapon piercing Ethan's heart. From then on, Lily openly guided Jack. The master, feeling resentful, talked to Lily. She thought Ethan had tattled and punished him by making him kneel in the back mountain for 3 days and nights.
Then always thought Lily didn't like him because she believed he couldn't compare to Jack. So, on the day of the sect competition, when he encountered Jack, he beat him until his spiritual weapon broke and he collapsed. As he was about to stop, Jack recited an incantation, and a spiritual weapon descended from the sky. Seeing that weapon then was stunned. It was Lily's life-bound spiritual weapon, which only someone bonded to it could wield. It turned out Lily had long given her life-bound spiritual weapon to Jack. In his days, that weapon shattered his into pieces and pierced his heart.
The high hall was silent as the woman in white, sitting with an air of grace, paused in her actions upon hearing the request.
Nonsense. How can you?
All right. I will take you as my disciple.
Her beauty, undiminished by the 1,000 years she had lived, was still breathtaking. The decision was final. I was now her disciple. Jack's spiritual weapon lay shattered at his feet, disbelief etched on his face.
How is this possible? How could a broken branch have such power?
The branch hovered in the air before gently landing in my palm, radiating spiritual energy into my body.
Jack, accept your loss.
I began to walk away, but Jack's voice, filled with resentment, stopped me in my tracks.
You think you can just leave after breaking my spiritual sword? It's not that easy.
He chanted an incantation and struck a palm towards me. Golden sword energy appeared just in time, intercepted by Lily.
Lily, why are you defending him?
Lily's expression was cold, mirroring the look she had given me in a previous life when I had defeated Jack.
So you're this strong. Let's have a fight.
I felt the spiritual weapon at my waist stir, but I knew it was no match for a cultivator in the Great Ascension stage. Just as the battle was about to erupt, Isabella arrived, riding her little pig.
Lily, are you really going to fight a young boy?
Lily retracted her stance, but her disdain for Isabella was evident.
Your disciple destroyed my spiritual weapon. Shouldn't I teach him a lesson?
If my disciple destroyed your disciple's spiritual weapon, then you, as the mentor, should come to me, the mentor.
Lily squinted her eyes, challenging Isabella.
You want to fight me?
Isabella's calm demeanor remained unshaken as the wind lifted her green robe.
Why always resort to fighting? Since my disciple destroyed your spiritual weapon, I'll compensate you with one. No fighting, no anger.
Isabella led Lily back to her residence, where a treasure trove of spiritual weapons awaited. The light from thousands of spiritual weapons was blinding.
Pick whichever you like.
Jack's eyes gleamed with greed as he selected a purple sword, leaving with a satisfied grin.
Why did you do that?
Sensing my displeasure, Isabella explained.
The sword I gave you, Lin Yuan, is not a spiritual weapon.
Then what is it?
It's an immortal weapon.
Weapons are categorized into mortal weapons, spirit weapons, celestial weapons, and divine weapons. In the human world, there are only mortal and spirit weapons. Celestial and divine weapons remain legends.
I thought Isabella was just making things up. But looking at her, it seemed she was serious.
With the guidance of the Abyss, Ethan began to practice the cultivation techniques Lily had taught him in his previous life late at night. Unexpectedly, just as he started, he saw Isabella standing not far away.
Why aren't you sleeping?
Don't practice that technique anymore. It's not suitable for you.
She wasn't wrong. In my previous life, after I broke through to the void core stage, I felt that this technique was no longer useful to me. But I don't know any other techniques.
Although Ethan's father was the sect leader of the Zhuoshui immortal sect, he ascended when Ethan was born. Ethan had an immortal bone, and his mortal mother couldn't bear it. She passed away from exhaustion after giving birth to him.
Although my father's senior disciple adored and cherished me, he was unwilling to teach me my father's techniques. He wouldn't let me call him senior brother. He even brought back a man when I was young and taught all of my family's techniques to that man. Everyone in the Zhuoshui immortal sect treated me with respect on the surface, but they regarded that man as the true son of the sect leader. Before reaching the foundation establishment stage, I had to learn everything secretly by myself.
After coming to the Free Spirit Sect, the techniques of each sect here were incompatible, and only Lily taught Ethan a little bit. Now that he had become Isabella's disciple, she had no spiritual power and couldn't teach him anything.
Come with me.
Ethan followed Isabella to a secret room. He realized that besides spirit weapons, Isabella had collected many cultivation techniques. She searched for a long time and finally handed him a book.
This one suits you. Practice it well, and in time, you will achieve great success.
I looked at the book and then at Isabella. She leaned against the door, a smile playing on her lips. My heart skipped a beat.
Practicing the techniques in that book, Ethan advanced from the foundation establishment stage to the nascent soul stage in just 6 months. This speed was unprecedented in the cultivation world. Although Isabella had no spiritual power, she was very knowledgeable about cultivation techniques.
Where did this technique come from?
It came from above.
You're just making it up.
When Ethan reached the nascent soul stage, the people of the Free Spirit Sect finally realized that their ancestor was not just a figurehead. She had no spiritual power, but possessed spirit weapons and techniques. Isabella hadn't shown her abilities because no one respected her. Despite being called an ancestor, no one truly respected her. Even the master only called upon her for important occasions. When her reputation spread, many people came to seek her guidance. But Isabella wouldn't take any more disciples. She only gave lectures and taught theoretical knowledge. The most frequent visitor was Jack. Although Lily was the #1 in the cultivation world and had brought Jack to the golden core stage, he was still no match for Ethan. Jack, eager for quick success, sought techniques from Isabella every day. Isabella didn't like him and sent him away directly.
Please, ancestor, teach your grand disciple.
This scene was witnessed by Lily, who had come to find him. Seeing this, her face turned dark, and she left in a huff. Before Ethan could enjoy the drama, the master summoned him.
There are monsters causing trouble in the Northwest. Help your senior brother subdue them.
After practicing alone every day, I finally have a chance to show my skills.
The small beast was no match for us. After defeating it, my senior brother and I played at the foot of the mountain for 2 months before returning. As soon as I entered with the gift I bought for Isabella, I smelled a metallic scent. Isabella was leaning weakly on the bed, her lips pale, while the master was feeding her medicine.
Please don't tell Ethan about this.
Don't tell me what?
Isabella was stunned. She looked up at me and gave a weak smile.
You're back.
She didn't look well. She was a shadow of her former stunning self, now frail and sickly.
Who hurt you like this?
I encountered a wild boar while hunting.
Nonsense. Isabella was too lazy to go hunting. That boar was not a boar at all but the legendary beast, the lily. Such a creature near Isabella, an ordinary wild boar, couldn't possibly harm her. Isabella knew she couldn't hide the truth from me. It turned out that Jack was behind this. He heard that Isabella had a secret chamber with heart techniques and kept pestering her to see it. But Isabella treasured it and wouldn't let him in. So Jack attacked the powerless Isabella. He injured her but was struck by the master, who arrived in time. Now Jack was confined.
Does it matter whose disciple he is now? He hurt Isabella. This is a betrayal.
But Lily wants to protect him. If we push her too hard and she leaves the Free Spirit Sect, what then?
So we just let it go? Isn't the Free Spirit Sect supposed to value righteousness and respect for mentors? Just because Lily is the top cultivator and Isabella is a powerless elder?
I stepped back, unable to believe it. This was what I had been striving for. This was the master I respected. How could this be?
Let it go, Ethan. I'm fine.
I was indignant. I picked up my sword again and walked out. To hell with the top cultivator. Even if it were the only god in the heavens, I would seek justice for Isabella. Today, either Jack dies, or I do. Suddenly, dark clouds gathered outside, and thunder rumbled. The master was about to suppress me when my senior brother ran over in a panic.
No, Jack has escaped.
Escaped?
I chased after him immediately. The dungeon had a hole blown in it.
Which way did he go?
I didn't see, but Aunt Lily has already gone after him.
The master said Lily would definitely bring Jack back. But I doubted it. Only I, who had experienced the past life, knew how important Jack was to Lily. She would even pluck the moon from the sky for him. I took over the master's role in caring for Isabella. Her injuries pained me. Isabella saw my expression.
Don't cry. I have nothing to comfort you with.
If you couldn't win, why didn't you run?
I couldn't outrun him either.
How have you survived all these years?
Isabella looked up at the sky.
I wonder too. I think I'm quite cowardly. All these years, I haven't even dared to.
This was the first time I saw a look of desolation in Isabella's eyes. She had lived alone in this world for so many years, witnessing many people leave her. Yet she didn't even have the courage to. I comforted her. Not everyone should have the courage to. Isabella ruffled my hair.
Aren't you curious about my past?
Curious, but I didn't know how to ask. To me, Isabella was very mysterious. She had no spiritual power but could tame divine beasts and had so many spiritual and heart techniques. And she had lived so long. You know, cultivators live longer than mortals, but only by 100 years or so. After 200 years, they either ascend or fall. But no one knew Isabella's age.
Actually, I'm not as old as you think, and I will die too.
When?
When he comes.
I wanted to know who he was, but Isabella didn't answer my question anymore, insisting on sleeping. I wouldn't let her sleep, kept asking her. Annoyed, Isabella said,
He was my former disciple.
You're kidding. Besides me, who would take a mentor with no spiritual roots?
Believe it or not. She turned over.
But I felt a sudden emptiness. Was Isabella's disciple that good? To make her remember him so fondly? 3 months passed with no news of Jack and Lily. 3 months later, it was time for the sect competition. All the cultivation sects gathered at the Free Spirit Sect. I had broken through to the nascent soul stage and reached the deity transformation stage. My cultivation speed shocked everyone, and my peers could only marvel at my progress.
Isabella, do you want to watch me fight?
Children fighting, I won't go.
I wanted to argue but found it reasonable. To her, we were indeed just children. However, she still came that day, lazily sitting in the VIP seats, looking harmless. When I fought against my senior brother, I realized something was wrong after just a few moves.
You're not senior brother. Who are you?
Senior brother let out an unpleasant laugh and tore off his face, revealing a familiar face. It was Jack.
Long time no see, Ethan.
You have fallen into darkness?
I was part of the Dark Clan from the beginning.
I suddenly thought of the Zhuoshui Immortal Sect, how senior brother was severely injured protecting me, and recalled the tragic scene. The grudge of the massacre.
Today, I will honor senior brother and the others with your defeat.
I attacked directly but was knocked to the ground by Jack with one palm. Only then did I realize he wasn't at the Golden Core stage, he was at the Great Ascension stage.
You are the leader of the Dark Sect!
Having an immortal bone is indeed extraordinary. It took me 50 years to reach the nascent soul stage, and you did it in 3 months. Your flesh and blood must be delicious.
It was rumored that Henry's cultivation method involved absorbing others' powers. I asked him,
You are already at the Great Ascension stage. Why come to our Free Spirit Sect?
Of course, for you. I need your immortal bone.
I suddenly understood why in my past life Henry always wanted to eliminate me. It was for my immortal bone. Henry's appearance attracted attention. I saw all the cultivators ready to eliminate this dark figure. But how could Henry come alone? Dark clouds gathered, and strange noises came from outside as Dark Clan followers broke in. People exclaimed,
How could the Dark Clan break the Free Spirit Sect seal?
Could there be a traitor?
Only the elders knew the method to break the Free Spirit Sect seal. And the elder closest to Henry was. A great battle was imminent. I looked towards Isabella's seat and found she had disappeared. Gone? Good. This way, I wouldn't be distracted during the fight. I picked up Lin Yuan. I knew my current cultivation was no match for the Great Ascension stage, but I still wanted to fight. Henry easily knocked me to the ground. I lay there, spitting out blood. Henry walked towards me and said,
Taking your immortal bone is really troublesome. This immortal sect protects you, that sect leader forbids it. But it's not all in vain, I do like those spiritual weapons.
What do you mean? You targeted my sect just for me?
What else? When your senior brother died, it was quite a scene. He wouldn't let me learn the cultivation method and even trained a substitute for you. Otherwise, why would it be so hard to find you?
My heart trembled. Senior brother did it all for me. I remembered his dying appearance, and my heart burned with anger. I forced myself up and picked up my sword again.
Come! Today, it's either you or me.
Knocked down. Got up.
Again.
Knocked down. Got up.
Come!
In the end, I spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Henry waved his hand.
No time to play with you.
He walked towards me, intending to take my immortal bone directly. At this moment, Master stood in front of me.
Ethan, run. You are the hope of the Free Spirit Sect, run.
I watched Master withstand Henry's attack for me, feeling complicated. The air filled with the smell of blood. Henry pierced Master's chest with one palm and greedily absorbed him dry. My heart ached.
Master.
Master closed his eyes, still telling me to run in his last moment. But I was already immobile. Henry approached me again. I closed my eyes, waiting. But this time, someone else stood in front of me. I opened my eyes. It was Lily. Lily, dressed in tattered clothes, turned to Henry.
Henry, it's not too late to turn back.
Henry's face twisted with fury.
You want to stop me too?
Lily bit her lip, standing firm in her convictions.
Good will always prevail over evil.
Good will always prevail over evil? And who decided you're the good one and I'm the evil one?
Lily remained composed, her years of righteous teachings guiding her.
As an elder of the Free Spirit Sect, I cannot stand by and watch you destroy our sect. Henry, don't make more mistakes. If you want to ascend, I can accompany you. Don't walk the wrong path anymore.
Accompany me in cultivation? Or do you want me to help you overcome your emotional tribulation?
Lily was stunned. I was also stunned. So, Henry was Lily's emotional tribulation. It all made sense now.
You knew all along, and yet.
Lily, you call yourself righteous and say I am evil, but how are you any better than me? You knew I was from the demon clan, yet you kept me in the Free Spirit Sect and took me as your disciple just to use me to overcome your tribulation. How are you any nobler than me?
I looked up, unable to believe my ears. Lily knew all along that Jack was Henry, yet she still kept him in the Free Spirit Sect. This realization made my heart ache even more. Lily's face turned pale at his words. She began to chant a spell and suddenly looked back at me.
I was wrong before.
I was stunned, feeling inexplicably that these words were meant for me. Wrong about what?
Now I will take you down.
When two powerful cultivators fight, the world trembles. Soon, Henry was at a disadvantage. Lily finally pinned him down, her hand gripping his throat.
Lily, end my life. I am willing to die by your hand.
Emotions are the hardest to control. Lily's heart softened, and her grip loosened. At that moment, Henry seized the opportunity, conjured a spiritual weapon, and pierced Lily's heart, just as he had pierced mine before. Henry absorbed her cultivation. After absorbing it, Henry's entire body began to glow red, illuminating half the sky. Henry ascended.
I have finally broken through the great stage!
How could this be? Heaven, why do you help this demon? The smell of blood in the air grew stronger. I looked at the master and Lily lying on the ground, a deep sorrow rising in my heart. Henry turned his gaze to me again, raising his hand slightly, sending a shockwave towards me.
Now, who can stop me from ending your life?
No one. No one could stop someone who had broken through the great stage. I closed my eyes, thinking I might die. But before I died, I still wanted to see that person one last time. The expected impact did not hit me. Instead, I heard a pig squeal. I opened my eyes to see a horrifying scene. A spirit beast was knocked to the ground by spiritual power, and Isabella was being held by the throat by Henry.
Isabella, why are you here?
She had no spiritual power. Coming here was seeking danger. Sure enough, Henry just threw Isabella in front of me, and she was already unable to move. Isabella coughed, blood soaking her chest. She gave me a bleak smile.
This time, I really am going to die.
My heart clenched. I said,
No, you can't die. You haven't waited for that person yet. How can you die? Mentor, you can't die.
My tears fell like beads. Images of Isabella's various expressions flashed through my mind, lazy, smiling, serious. I realized belatedly that I had long developed feelings for Isabella. Isabella reached out, wiping my tears with her fingertips.
Ethan, don't cry. Do you want to end him? I will help you.
No, I want you to live. I just want you to live. If you can live.
Isabella chuckled softly, raised her hand, and a sword flew into the air, then directly pierced her chest.
No. I tried to pull out the sword, but it wouldn't budge. Isabella smiled at me.
Don't cry. Gods shouldn't cry.
The master was gone. Lily was gone. Now Isabella was gone too. More and more people were passing away. I felt my heart stop for a moment, then it started beating faster. My whole body was heating up, and I was trembling all over. A divine power lifted me up. As countless divine powers surged into my body, I simultaneously received countless memories. Strange phenomena appeared in the sky. Golden and purple lights connected in a dazzling display. All the cultivators were stunned by my transformation.
It's a deity. This is a deity.
Didn't deities disappear 1,000 years ago? How can one reappear now?
It turned out that I was not an immortal bone. I was a divine bone. That's why I cultivated so quickly. The wounds on my body completely healed. I landed in front of Henry and slowly opened my eyes. Henry's face looked terrible.
What deity? I think it's just a trick. Give me your life.
He ran towards me with a spiritual weapon. I waved my hand lightly. Henry instantly spat blood. He believed I was a deity now. But he started laughing.
If you are a deity, then you have a divine bone. Good, good, if I eat the divine bone, then I will be a deity too.
He tried to get up. But he found his fingers turning to ash. Then his whole body turned to dust. With a gust of wind, he scattered. How dare anything question the power of a deity? I raised my hand and chanted, white light enveloping those people. The injured slowly healed.
Welcome the deity to the mortal world.
One voice started, and then thousands followed.
Welcome the deity to the mortal world.
The voices grew louder and louder. I heard the mountains and seas roaring too. I ignored these people. Transforming into a beam of white light, I flew to the ninth heaven. I am a deity, but not the only one. My mentor, Isabella, was the first deity in this world. She lived in the ninth heaven and taught me skills. One day, I sneaked down to the mortal world and caused trouble by changing someone's fate. The heavens were furious, stripping me of my divine power and washing away my memories. The heavens punished me to endure 1,000 years of tribulations in the mortal world, suffering in every life. Because of me, my mentor also descended to the mortal world. She had the memories of a deity but no divine power. She could only wait for me in the mortal world for 1,000 years. She couldn't actively seek me out. I had to find her. Every 100 years, a cultivator with a divine bone would enter the Free Spirit Sect. But without exception, no one ever chose Isabella as their mentor. No one wanted to approach someone who had only the appearance but no power. So Isabella lived alone for 1,000 years. For 1,000 years, she wrote down the skills she remembered. She collected spirit stones to make spiritual weapons. She waited and waited. Finally, she met a little guy named Ethan. According to fate, I was not supposed to take her as my mentor. She had prepared herself for 1,000 years of waiting. But every time, she watched me die tragically. She couldn't bear it. She couldn't stand it. But she knew that if she intervened, I would only suffer greater divine punishment. At another disciple acceptance ceremony, she wondered if she should use some tricks, maybe even seduce someone. But this time, the man named Ethan was determined.
I want her.
In the ninth heaven, everyone congratulated me. I hurriedly thanked them and left. I arrived at a familiar place and finally saw that familiar figure. Isabella was wearing a green robe, feeding fish. I ran over and called her.
Isabella.
Mind your manners, call me mentor.
I didn't want to call her mentor. I ran over and hugged her waist. And called her again. Isabella.
She patted my head. Welcome home.
The end.